My wife of 28 years backstabbed me, so I drove her insane and meticulously ruined her life. My wife had no clue that I knew about her ongoing affair, so the very first thing I did was devise the plan that would make her life hell on earth. Simply confronting her and divorcing her was way too simple. I needed to ruin her. My first step was gathering evidence of the affair, and I did this by using the app that allowed me to spy on her texts. I spied on her texts pretty much every night, screenshotting every conversation between her and her affair partner. They were talking like they were in a full-blown relationship, slove-dovey romantic stuff, provocative pictures, the whole bag. Around this time, I moved on to the making her life hell phase of my plan. I started acting extremely cold towards her, and this made her paranoid. She'd ask me if I was doing okay all the time, but I'd brush her off. She'd try talk to me and get me to open up, but I avoided her. I could tell this took a huge toll on her mentally, but I was only getting started. I also began doing things out of the ordinary. I start going out at odd times and coming home extra late from work. In her presence, I was on my phone a lot more than usual, and when she asked, "What are you up to?" I simply said, "Just stuff," and put my phone away. I also changed my login info on everything, so she couldn't access any of my stuff. Around this time, I clued my best friend Ozzy in on my plan, as well as telling my older sister and two more of my closest friends, Joey and Nina, what was going on. Make note of Nina, she comes into play down the road. About 1 month of acting cold towards my wife is all it took for her to completely lose her marbles. She started texting and calling me a lot more frequently now, asking me if I'm going to be home, asking when am I coming home, trying to initiate things in the bedroom, asking if I'm okay daily, the works. I can see the seed planted in her head. The month prior is starting to sprout, especially in her communication with her affair partner. Let's call him Dave. She's confiding in him her doubt and confusion, and I'm seeing this once again, thanks to the app. She's telling him that I'm getting cold and distant. In the interim of these interactions with Dave, she suggests that maybe they should stop meeting up at our house because she has no idea if I'd just show up. Dave asks her in that specific communication if she worried about me potentially cheating on her, which actually ticked her off. I can't even begin to describe the level of joy and how many laughs I got out of reading that exchange. My cheating wife arguing with her affair partner over if she's mad her husband could be cheating on her. Oh, the irony. Now bear in mind, I'm not hooking up with anyone. When I leave, I'm usually at Ozzy playing video games. We'll fast forward now another 4 months. 4 long months of keeping my mouth shut, gathering evidence, and driving my wife mad by acting cold and distant. She had started nearly slipping into psychosis, and I was relishing in it. I've been in my faux affair for 5 months now, and it's been 5 months since I even touched her. No hugs, no kisses, no initiation of intimacy. Not like she needed it, though. She was still sleeping with Dave, just at his place or at motels. And then on one random day, it all just hit the fan. She called me at work, begging me to come straight home because she had something important to tell me. I actually believed she was going to come clean about her infidelity, but she of course didn't. Instead, I got home to her asking me if I was unhappy with her. She cites the fact that I've been spending way too much time away from home, I don't show her affection anymore, and our bedroom life has completely died. She tells me she's worried I'm pushing her away. And then came the punchline. She asked if I was cheating on her. I can't even lie, I fell on the floor laughing hysterically. And when I say hysterically, I mean Joker laughing gas hysterical. On the surface, it looked like it was me laughing off the notion of being unfaithful, but it was of course actually me laughing at the sheer irony of what was happening in front of my eyes. I'm tearing up, pounding on the floor in complete hysterics for a good 2 minutes before I compose myself enough to answer. I sit up and look her in the eyes for the first time in months, shaking my head, but I don't give her an answer. I stand up, brush myself off, kiss the top of her head, and go about settling in for the night. I could hear the start to cry as I walked off, but I didn't care. Later that night, as I'm in my office, I decide, you know what? Given the brevity of what happened, I wanted to see what she was telling him. So I fire up the app, and sure enough, they're actually texting in real time. She tells Dave, I know he's cheating on me. I asked him tonight and he literally laughed in my face. He fell on the floor and laughed for like 5 minutes. He doesn't even care how I feel anymore. I don't know how or why, but he's gone. I know I've lost him. This is karma. I know it. The smile I had on my face reading that must have resembled the Cheshire Cat. She was breaking. Dave attempted to console her, saying that if I cared enough for her, she wouldn't have had to come to him to give her what I wasn't giving her, but the tone of her responses told me she was having doubts about him now. Now, during all of this, I was also exacting yet another part of my plan for payback. This part involved getting all of my affairs in order financially. You see, not too long ago, I had met with a family attorney to get the ball rolling on divorce paper, with the mountain of evidence I'd piled up to that point. The overwhelming amount of proof I'd gathered displaying Sue's infidelity pretty much solidified that I could nail her to the wall in a divorce case. My lawyer instructed me to get all of my financials in order in preparation for whatever division of assets might come as a result. I went one better than that, though. secretly pulling all of my money out of our joint account and putting it in my personal account. I also started shopping around for an apartment as part of this phase, so about a month goes by after the incident of me dropping to the floor and laughing, and I've yet to change my behavior towards my wife. In fact, I've ramped it up, and if she wasn't psychotic, yes, she sure is now. This is the time is where my friend Nina comes into play. For context, Nina and my wife have never been what you call close. I met Nina freshman year of high school 2 years before I met my wife. Even way back then, my wife has seen Nina as a threat, as she's my closest female friend. There's always been an implied I don't trust her from my wife regarding Nina. Anyway, one night Nina, Ozzy, Joey, and I gathered at Joey's house for dinner and drinks. Well, Nina, being the evil mastermind she is, comes up with an evil idea to trigger my wife. She suggested we take some photos in the same vein of the photos I discovered of my wife and Dave months prior and post them to my Facebook. And that's just what we did. It wasn't until 2 days later that Sue got wind of it, as I'm guessing a few friends noticed my updates and saw how uncomfortably close I was with Nina. This really messed her mind up because she still believed I was cheating. That same night, she tried to scold me for being so handsy in the pictures. I saw this as a golden opportunity to deliver the lead jab for my knockout blow. I said, "So what about the pics with you and Dave from last year? He was pretty handsy in them, but did you see me get bent out of shape over it?" She looked like a deer in headlights. It was the first time I even mentioned the dude's name throughout all of this. The hamster wheel in her head started reeling in real time as she tried to explain away those pics, and explain away she did. "He's that way with everyone. He's just a really friendly guy. I can see how it looks, but there's nothing there. I'm sorry if those pics hurt you. I'll delete them." No, the pics aren't what hurt me. The year you've been sleeping with the dude whilst lying to me that you're working extra hours and hanging with friends is what hurt me. But vengeance is a dish best served cold. From that night, my wife was being extra specially clingy and attentive to me. She'd try to initiate affection and intimacy with me, and I'd stonewall her at every chance. All the while, I'm still archiving everything she's saying to Dave. Mind you, by this point, I'd long since gone numb. Any desire I might have had to save my marriage was dead. I'd checked out the day I enacted the first phase of my plan. She's confiding in him that I've gotten worse, that she doesn't know what to do, and she feels like I absolutely hate her. I do. Then comes the bombshell. She says she can't see him anymore. The guilt is too much for her, and she feels like karma is suffocating her. She can't risk losing me. She says that she loves Dave deeply, but she is still in love with me, and she has to save her marriage before she loses me. No, my dear, you're many months too late for that. Dave loses it, saying such lovely things as, "He doesn't love you the way I love you," and, "You're making a mistake. You can't just throw me away like this." That text chain would be the last they'd have for a while. Throughout the remainder of November into December, my wife is stuck in limbo. She's trying to gauge where my headspace is and is still unable to tell if I'm actually being unfaithful. Meanwhile, Dave is steadily blowing her phone up daily, but she's not responding to him. I'd see her check her phone often, then quickly put it away. Meanwhile, the financial phase of the plan was now officially complete. The divorce papers were done. I'd found a studio apartment near me and signed a 2-year lease on it.